Shemot, names. Shemot, Exodus 1, 1 to 6, 1. Haftarah, Yeshayahu, Isaiah 27, 6 to 29, 23. And Yirmeyahu, Jeremiah 1, 1 to 2, 3. Brit Hadashah suggested, Mattityahu, Matthew 22, 23 to 33, and 41 to 46. Mark 12, 18 to 27. Luke 20, 27 to 44. Acts 3, 12 to 15, and 7, 17 to 36. And Messianic Jews, Hebrews 11, 23 to 26. Ve'ele Shemot b'nei Isra'el habayim Mitzrayma et Yaakov ish ubeito ba'u. These are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Egypt with Yaakov. Introduction. Torah. After Joseph's death, changes happened in Egypt. Now there arose a new king over Egypt. He knew nothing about Joseph. Exodus 1:8, Complete Jewish Bible. He was not a friend to the children of Israel. In Exodus, the new king says, "Look, the descendants of Israel have become a people too numerous and powerful for us. Come, let's use wisdom in dealing with them. Otherwise, they'll continue to multiply, and in the event of war, they might ally themselves with our enemies." Exodus 1, 9 to 10, Complete Jewish Bible. Countries today sometimes see immigrants the same way and only want them around for the work they do. But in Egypt, this approach was crueler and became dangerous. Eventually, there was an effort to control the population through infanticide, with Pharaoh saying, "When you attend the Hebrew women and see them giving birth," he said, "if it's a boy, kill him, but if it's a girl, let her live." Exodus 1:16, Complete Jewish Bible. This did not stop Israel from multiplying. When one woman saved a boy from execution, she put him in a papyrus basket, then in a river, and he was saved from the river by the daughter of Pharaoh. So she called him Moshe, pull out. My Parsha message will not be as short as others due to the length of the story and the importance of so much of it. So much Jewish history as recorded in the Holy Scriptures is filled with human efforts to prevent the survival of the chosen people, then followed by divine intervention. This Parsha is only the beginning of a bigger accounting of the most significant event in biblical history. Moshe grew up to be a son of Pharaoh, but his status was threatened by his concern for the cruelty to his Jewish brothers and sisters. One day he killed an Egyptian for beating a Jewish slave, and the impact of the event led to his need to leave his home. Moshe fled from Pharaoh to live in the land of Midian. Exodus 2:15, Complete Jewish Bible. There he met his future wife and father-in-law. Moshe was glad to stay on with the man, and he gave Moshe his daughter Zipporah in marriage. She gave birth to a son, and he named him Gershom, foreigner there. For he said, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." Exodus 2:21 to 22, Complete Jewish Bible. Yitro became his father-in-law. Moshe's wife was not Jewish. Her name Zipporah meant bird, and she would eventually fly away. Holy Scripture does not say exactly when, but later tells of when Yitro brought her back to Moshe. Exodus 18:1 and 2. But the rest of that story is in a future Parsha. When Moshe returned to Egypt, he was not welcomed by Pharaoh nor his own people, Israel. To Pharaoh, he was a murderer, and to Israel, he had brought even more cruelty on them from the Egyptians. So Moshe consulted with Adonai. Moshe returned to Adonai and said, Adonai, why have you treated this people so terribly? What has been the value of sending me? For ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has dealt terribly with this people, and you haven't rescued your people at all. The continuation of this beginning will be in the next parsha. Haftarah. In Yeshayahu, there is a long prose about the relationship between Adonai and Israel. It finishes saying, when his descendants see the work of my hands among them, they will consecrate my name. Yes, they will consecrate the Holy One of Yaakov and stand in awe of the God of Israel. Isaiah 29:23, Complete Jewish Bible. There is comfort in the reminder that whatever happens, there is a plan, and Adonai's intention will prevail, and Israel will benefit from being chosen with all the world. In Yirmeyahu, we read his words. The word of Adonai came to me asking, Yirmeyahu, what do you see? I answered, I see a branch from an almond tree. Hebrew, shaket. Then Adonai said to me, you have seen well because I am watching, Hebrew, shoket, to fulfill my word. It is good to be with Adonai. Israel is set aside for Adonai. Berit Hadashah. The best thing about Adonai is that there is a plan for after this life. There is a second life for the chosen, and for those who are not chosen can share in this by having faith that can be counted as righteousness, such as with Abraham, Genesis 15:6. In the selected scripture of Mattityahu, we read, and for whether the dead are resurrected, haven't you read what God said to you? I am the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov. He is God, not of the dead, but of the living. In the book of Acts, we are reminded, this Moshe, whom they rejected, saying, who made you a ruler and judge, is the very one whom God sent as both ruler and ransomer by means of the angel that appeared to him in the thorn bush. More important, we are reminded in Messianic Jews, Hebrews, by trusting, the parents of Moshe hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw that he was a beautiful child, and they weren't afraid of the king's decree. By trusting, Moshe, after he had grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose being mistreated along with God's people rather than enjoying the passing pleasures of sin. He had come to regard abuse suffered on behalf of the Messiah as greater riches than the treasures of Egypt, for he kept his eyes fixed on the reward. This message to the Messianic Jews of the first century implies that Moshe might have been expecting a life after this life. He was also expecting the promised land, but he was not afraid to die before entering. He argued with Adonai, but his faith was firm. Conclusions. In the Torah, Moshe continued the inherited trait of Israel, fights with God, when he accused Adonai of not helping Israel as they are abused by the Egyptians. But he remained faithful and gave his all to Adonai. The Haftarah confirms that the people of Israel belong to God, and His will for them is ensured. Just as there is a divine plan for them, there is a divine plan for everyone. If we have the faith of Moshe, we do not need to fear. The merciful Father in heaven can give us another life after this one. Have a good week and a Shabbat Shalom.